Gentlemen, welcome to the Diversion Authority Finance Committee meeting for November 19th. Before we start the meeting, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Dave Ebinger. He's with us today. He's sitting in for Lori Johnson. So welcome, Dave. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Mayor.
We call the meeting to order. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Here.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson. Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
Here.
Don, did you take note that Mayor Carlson?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Right, very good. Next order of business is to approve the minutes of October 27th. They are distributed. They have been distributed. They are on page 3 of your packet. Mayor Mahoney moves to approve the minutes of October 22nd. Mr. Steen seconds. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 3 is to approve the order of the agenda. Again, it has been distributed.
So moved.
Mayor, we have a motion and a second. Mayor Mahoney and Commissioner Ebinger. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 4 is to approval of the bills. We call on Susan Thompson, Finance Director, the City of Fargo. It's on page 5 of the packet.
Okay, before you are less than a dozen invoices for the month of October. These represent bills that we received through November 12th. We cut off the month a little early due to the holiday, so this is a little lighter than we see, so I'll give you a little heads up that we might see a few additional dollars flow through next month. So the bills total $796,792.55. Anybody have any specific questions on the bills?
Any questions on the bills? This is an actionable item.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Grinberg moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Carlson seconds. We have a motion and a second to approve the bills as presented for $796,792.55. Is there any discussion?
What was the Allegro Construction Services Technical Dispute Review Board? What was that about?
That's a good question, and I do not know the answer to that. I often wondered what I would say when someone asked a question.
Going to call on Jason
Thank
Benson,
you.
the Executive Director, for clarification on the Allegro.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Allegro, that's one of our board members for the Technical Dispute Review Board. So his fees for being part of that board.
There was no payout. There was no pay to any construction company.
It's not a Allegro, it's not a construction company. It's just a consultant fee basically for his service on the Dispute Review Board.
So does every member get that amount on the Technical Review Board?
That amount is dependent on their time that they've allocated. So about every quarter, they're having meetings to maintain that committee, that TDRB. So that way we don't, if we have a dispute that comes up, we don't have to try to reform that, the amount of time and effort. So that quarterly, I believe this was his quarterly, and for their first quarterly meeting their second quarterly meeting that we hosted, they actually came up here to get familiar with the project. So that also included some of those travel costs.
And you say 50%, so is it really 18,000 when we get to it, or what is it?
I'll look for John.
Now call on Mr. John Shockley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Member Mahoney. So the 3 members of TDRB, we pay for one wing member. The developer pays for one wing member, and then the chair, which is Mr. Allegro, we split 50-50. The chair has the most time into it because he was organizing the meeting, getting the agenda set. And so His fee was $18,000, and that was split 50-50 between the two parties.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. Any additional questions? We have a motion and a second. Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes?
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Yes. Yes.
There can only be 10 mics on at one time, so if you're not speaking, please turn yours off because mine keeps going out here. Thank you. Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Aye.
Mr. Reese.
Aye.
And Ms. Heinley.
Aye.
That is everyone.
Motion passes. Thank you, Don. Item number 5 is the finance report. Again, we call on Susan Thompson for this report. It's on page 21 of the packet.
Okay, so page 21 represents the revenues, expenditures, and other sources, historic and year-to-date for 2025. And then on page 22, it is our statement of position listing our assets and liabilities. So if you look at the far right total, the grand total assets, $275,939,902. Liabilities include some vouchers payable through the end of the year, or through the end of the month. So that's a little higher than normal, $1,043,000. So net position is $274,896,300.
Thank you. Any questions? Questions on the finance report? Again, this is an actionable item. Commissioner Grinberg moves for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ebinger seconds. We have a motion and a second to approve the finance report as presented by Susan Thompson, $274,896,300. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We move on to item number 6. Item number 6 is a cash budget report. We call on Jason Benson, Executive Director. It's on page 46 of the packet.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. Our annual revenue stats, again, just as a reminder, the sales tax is always lagging because we receive those a month or two after the month that we're in. When we look at different funding sources, that legacy bond fund draw, that is our last, we've made our last draw, so that's complete. And then on the WIFIA draws, the $234 million, that was anticipated based on us expending more on the P3 through their ICE completion. At this time, we don't anticipate doing any WIFIA draws in 2025, but we are planning on expending all of that in 2026. If there's any questions on that?
Questions for Mr. Benson?
All right, if not, we can go
Please
to
continue.
the revenues or the expenditures. Again, as with the revenues, we're staying pretty well on target. I think the big one up on top is where there's some differences, that milestone payments to the developer. Based on the settlement agreement, we have paid out $96 million at this point, with $137 million remaining. We don't anticipate that we're going to expend that $137 million. We do plan on expending some additional funds over the next month and a half as we get additional IC completions through the developer, but that's probably more in the 5, 10, 20 million. It's not, we won't expend that whole 137 million. Outside of that, when we look at lands, on the lands, we've expended 23 million. We do expect to expend a few more as we've gone to trial on several of our eminent domain cases. Very successful in those trials, and so we are doing some out-of-court settlements at this time, and hopefully that continues as it's better for everybody and cheaper for all of us from the legal fee standpoint to have those settled out of court. Outside of that, if there's any questions on this.
On your milestone payments to the developer, That represents 80% of the invoices that they've submitted. There's a holdback of 20%, is that correct?
It's actually kind of broken into two elements. As per the technical requirements in the agreement with RVA, is that they don't get milestone payments until they're 100% complete with everything, and it's been submitted through the ICE process. Through the settlement agreement, however, we have set aside $90 million that they can receive through that 80% completion. So if they've got a project component that's 80%, they can submit that. The total cumulative of those 80% complete projects is $90 million. After that, they have to completely close out 100%, one of those projects to free up. Say they have a $10 million project, they would have to 100% complete that to free up another $10 million in that $90 million to submit for another 80% project component. And that was done to continue to give the P3 developer some liquidity and cash for the work that's been completed. So far, a lot of that $96 million is the initial payment that we made this summer for the shoe fly lines on the railroad bypasses. Those were 100% complete and paid for. Then the others is that $90 million in the 80% completion. And we expect over the next several months, we're going to get some of those 100% complete, clear that, and then they'll submit more.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? You have anything else for us, Mr. Benson? One
That's
more,
all.
level 3, number 2.
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, very good, thank you. That's an informational item, so we move on to item number 7 is MOUs and agreements. We call on Mr. Shockley. He has items A and B to discuss with us today. It's on page 53 of the packet.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two agreements. One is an amendment to an existing MOU with Cass Rural Water Users District. As the board or the committee may recall, the authority had entered into a MRA with Cass Rural Water Users District regarding relocation and reconstruction of some impacted infrastructure. There is a well field that is just to the south of the southern embankment. Originally, it was contemplated that the wells would be relocated on top of an heightened embankment. The engineers can discuss in more full detail, but that was the original concept. Since that time, the concept has been changed to have the well field located inside of a levee. And so the amendments to the MRA reflect changing the concept of the project from elevating the wells to surrounding them with a levee. You'll see on your agenda later on under item 8C is actually the bid award for the component of the project that was involved in the levee construction. I can answer any questions regarding that item or move on to the next one if you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Any questions on the first item A, 7A? All right, please continue. Oh, excuse me, Mayor Mahoney.
John, does that decrease the price then? If you didn't have to lift it up and just doing levies, it'll be a cheaper price?
I do not know. I'd have to defer to the engineering team. They're telling me it's a wash between the two. There's no price difference.
Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The second item is sort of an interesting agreement. As part of the project, there are some historic log cabins that are located within the UMA area. Those properties are historic in nature and recognized by the Corps and the SHPO process of having value to the community and cultural and historical significance. As such, you can't really have them continue to be located in the UMA and subject to inundation when the project is operational. As many of you may be aware, Rolog Steam Threshers has a historic village in which they have different historic structures included. They'd expressed interest in taking possession of the log cabins and including that in their living museum. And so this is an agreement where those log cabins will be relocated from their site to the Rolog site, and Rolog is granting permission to move the cabins to their site. As part of the project and as part of NEPA, the cabins would have to be relocated. So this is a positive in that the cabins and the history part of the cabin stays in the area and will become part of Rolog. So happy to answer any questions, but it's an interesting agreement and preserves some history of the area.
Thank you. Questions? Anyone? Okay, this is an actionable item. We can take them separately or together. Commissioner Grinberg moves to approve 7A and 7B. Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Carlson seconds. We have a motion and a second to approve items 7A and 7B. Is there any discussion?
Just would change Rolog to Rolog, it's two Ls. I thought Mayor Carlson would make an adjustment.
I noted that yesterday, but it didn't make the important list, I guess. Our apologies to the Rolog folks that there's a misspell. Is there any further discussion? Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Yes.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grimberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Aye.
Mr. Reeds.
Yes.
And Ms. Heinley.
Aye.
That is everyone.
Thank you, Don. Item number 8, Diversion Authority Board Approval Contracting Actions. We call on Chris Bakkegaard, engineer for the Metro Flood Diversion Authority. We have items 8A, B, and C. Chris?
Thank you, Chair Dardis, members of the Finance Committee. Yeah, we have 3 items for your consideration today. The first is a Master Services Agreement extension for Program Advisor Services, excuse me. That's the contract we have with Martin Nicholson. That task order is up at the end of this year. So we're looking to extend that for 3 years to December 31st of 2028. My understanding, it was just minor administrative updates to that, so it's really just an extension of time and updating any minor names and dates and those things in the agreement. The second item is the task order amendment for the 2026 budget for Program Advisor Services. Again, this is an hourly contract, time and materials or time and expenses for travel. That budget item is $500,000 as laid out there. That's in line and consistent with what that contract has been for the past several years. I don't know, Mayor Dardis, those two kind of link together. I can certainly talk about the third one if you want now, or if you wanted to consider the two related to Program Advisor Services, and then we can cover the bid opening.
Let's handle the third one. Go ahead.
Okay, sounds great. The third one is, as John mentioned a minute ago, is the first of 2 remaining bid openings for the Castro water site. This is to start some work to add a couple of additional wells to the field. So this work, we wanted to get going. We can do that work over the winter. There will be a larger contract coming in the spring to do the actual levee construction work around both the treatment plant and the well field itself. Again, we received 3 bids on this project. The low bid was about 10% over the engineer's estimate at $299,550. Based on our evaluation of the bids, they're reasonable. Most of the cost differentials were in mobilization, which is hard to estimate, and so that's where the difference came from. Most of the unit price items were very much in line with what our engineer's estimate was. So our recommendation is to award this project to the low bid of Steffel Drilling and Pump for the $299,550. So with that, I can stand for any questions the committee might have.
Questions on 8A or B, which are tied together, or item 8C? Anyone?
Approve all 3.
I have a motion to approve all 3 items A, B, and C. Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Capitan seconds. So we have a motion to approve items 8A, B, and C. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Don, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Dardis.
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Aye.
Mayor Carlson.
Yes.
Mr. Steen.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Ebinger.
Aye.
Mr. Redlinger.
Yes.
Mr. Grenberg.
Aye.
Mr. Pepcorn.
Aye.
Mr. Capitan.
Aye.
Mr. Reeds.
Yes.
And Ms. Heinley.
Aye.
That is everyone.
Thank you. The motion passes. Item 9 is other business. Next order of business is 9A, which is the 2026 draft budget, cash budget, excuse me. Call on Paul Barthol.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. We have again updated the draft cash budget. This is version 3. As Executive Director Benson explained, we have gone through and updated the milestone payments, comparing that to what we expect to pay out this year, next year. So you'll see a significant increase in that amount there. There are a couple other areas that we have done the forensics here at the end of the year to try and make sure that we have covered what is going to be expended this year versus next year. One of those areas is the MOUs and work that will be done underneath those MOUs. So you're seeing a pretty significant increase under that third-party MOUs. Basically, this is commitments that we had. If you see this year, we had budgeted about 37 million in that, and under the township and city MOU agreements, very little has been spent on that, so the majority of that is being pushed to the right into 2026. One area that we do not have yet, we're still waiting to look at, is the lands and impacted property with the ongoing settlements. We have a meeting with the Director of Lands and Compliance first of the month of December, and so we'll have that finalized. Our intent is to bring the final budget to you at the December meeting. However, if you notice there, we are just under $1 billion, and with the anticipated changes, moves that way, my gut feeling is that we will be over that $1 billion mark by next month. So if you scroll down, I know that's a lot to swallow, looking at that amount. However, as Executive Director Benson noted before, we have not spent any WIFIA funds to date. So we do have the full 549 million in WIFIA draws available. And then there's also an inclusion in there of temporary sales tax bonds. That is being anticipated to subordinated sales tax bonds to, because of the amount of the expense next year, the income, the revenues from the sales tax aren't able to cover, and so we want to make sure that we're not short next year. And so we've included those temporary sales tax bonds. However, before we bring those and start to use those and bring those forward, we will bring that to the committee for your approval to authorize those bonds. I just wanted to note that it's there, and we're utilizing them to make sure that our funding sources do match our expenditures. Any questions?
Yes,
Mr.
thank you,
Steve.
Paul. Say just a clarification, so the 996 this year, or this version 3 versus 943 is about a 50 some odd $1 million increase. Is that all timing, or do we have some additional costs in that we should be aware of?
Majority of it is all timing. There is some minor additional costs. It does include, from where we originally started, the Cheyenne mitigation and infrastructure that way, the design and construction of that. But for the majority of it, it's just projects and things moving to the right that we haven't spent this year.
So with an additional 50 some odd million and I haven't done the math, but how much does that leave for 27? I mean, where are we at after 26 based upon your cash flow? Just curious about that.
Per the developer's schedule, this will complete their portion. So the P3 milestone payments and substantial completion payment will be paid out in 2026. So after that, we're starting to look at operations and maintenance. One of the things that we will be bringing before this committee in 2026 is that as per the JPA, there is a separate operations and maintenance fund that needs to be opened and started that way. So in that sense, we will be doing that. However, if you look at capital projects and the capital expenses, Peggy, if you could just scroll down just a little bit, you see that we are at about 1.4 billion left to date, estimate at complete. So we'll still be looking at, and that also includes all of the contingency. So if we spend all the contingency, we're still looking at around that $400 million in 2027, just to make sure things are wrapped up. And you will probably have some property mitigation costs with that, maybe finalizing some eminent domain cases. So there will be some cost in 2027 yet.
Commissioner Steen.
One last question, thank you, Paul, so we've always seemed to over budgeted and underspent every single year on this project. So what's the plan for the temporary sales tax bonds? At what point do you determine we have to pull the trigger and bring that money in, because it's obviously going to add significant interest costs once you do that? So I'm just curious what's going to be the trigger point that says, hey, we've got to go ahead and issue these 220 based upon the history of our spending.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. John Shockley, legal counsel, will address the question.
Member Steen, we're actually starting on the process of getting ready to issue the subordinated sales tax based upon the projected spend from the developer, because that's their schedule of payments. And so we can't not have the money available. The ultimate decision to, as I like to say, to pull the trigger when we actually go to market would be April or probably March or April. And so by that time, we hope to have better evidence of if we think that the milestone payment will be due. As for interest costs, the market is actually favorable right now for a shorter term 5-year bond issue. In talking with our financial advisor, thinking the bonds will price in at about 3.14% interest. And so it's actually a decent time period to do some temporary borrowing. As part of that, you'll recall earlier this year, the chair had the 4 legs of the stool for the financial plan. The subordinated sales tax bond would have what are called special redemption features. So as additional funding sources have fidelity, we could call potential portions of that temporary sales tax bond and pay it down without penalty. So long answer, but the short answer is we'll make the decision, and we'll bring the decision to the board in March or April regarding if we need to issue that subordinated sales tax bond.
Additional questions, Commissioner Grinberg.
Great discussion, and just to maybe piggyback a little bit, Mr. Shockley, and thanks for referencing, you recall in our August retreat, I think it was August, the discussion around the financial plan and the long-term aspect of it. It involved the 4 legs of the stool, as Mr. Shockley suggested. My understanding, this temporary is also tied into, the underspend on the core project, et cetera, and when the timing of that comes in is one of the key bogeys, or key legs of the stool, if you will. So I think from a standpoint of context here, there's still those 4 strategies, or 4 efforts, if you will, the low-interest loans from the Bank of North Dakota, the federal funding, efforts with Minnesota, and any discussion about any additional sales tax for a gap. Forget the years, 2027 to 2032. And if that's still accurate, and I think it's important that be distinguished as part of this discussion.
Anyone else? Any questions on the cash budget, 2026 cash budget draft? All right, thank you, gentlemen. This is only an informational item. We move on to item number 10, which is our next Finance Committee meeting will be December 17th. Does any member of the Finance Committee have anything they'd like to bring forward at this time? Any non-agenda item? All right. Staff, anything? All right. We stand adjourned. Thank you.